When it comes to transfers, Barcelona normally get exactly what they want. Except for keeping Neymar at the club, that was a bit of a tricky one. But normally, if they want a player, they'll get him. With Felipe Coutinho linked with the move to the new camp, plus the big money arrival of Paulinho, let's take a look at the most expensive Barcelona 11 ever. In goal we've got Jasper Cillessen. Barcelona paid €13 million for the Dutch keeper in 2016, just pipping the €12 million they paid for German stopper Marc-André ter Stegen 2 years earlier. Cillessen was brought in to replace the departing Claudio Bravo, who headed to Man City in a transfer that I'm sure went really well for the Chilean. Really well. Back in Catalonia, Cillessen made just 10 appearances in his first season, with 8 of them coming in the Copa del Rey. At right back it's Dani Alves. The Catalan Giants have just paid a huge fee for Nelson Semedo, costing €30.5 million, but that still doesn't make him the most expensive defender in Barcelona's history. That title still belongs to Brazilian defender Dani Alves. Barca paid Sevilla €35.5 million for Alves back in 2008, and how much did they move him on for? Absolutely nothing. Joining Juventus on a free in 2016, Alves would leave after picking up a domestic double, signing a 2-year deal at PSG, where he's part of the Barcelona tribute act alongside another Brazilian. Our first centre-back is Samuel Umtiti. Barca haven't had to fork out mega money on centre-backs like some clubs have, with Carlos Puyol coming through the youth team and Gerard Piqué only costing £5 million. But with the former retiring in 2014, Barca have had to start searching for their next great defender, and that'll cost you. France international Umtiti cost €25 million last summer from Lyon, and he should prove to be a bit of a bargain, because the defender is still only 23 years old. He's alongside Dmitro Chigrinsky, and if I've said that wrong, tough. Ignorance is bliss. Like Umtiti, Chigrinsky cost €25 million, arriving in Spain from Shakhtar Donetsk in 2009. 12 disappointing La Liga performances later, the Ukrainian was packing his bags once again and back off to Shakhtar Donetsk for £15 million. Nowadays the defender is playing in Greece with AEK Athens at the age of 30 and holds a master's degree in liberal arts, so at least it hasn't all been bad. At left back we've got Jeremy Mathieu. The versatile Frenchman, who can play at both left back and centre back, moved to the new camp in 2014 for €20 million from Valencia in one of the least sexy signings Barcelona have ever made. The gangly defender was a bit part player during his 3 years with the club and has just joined Sporting Lisbon on a free after being released. In midfield we've got André Gomes. The third player in this team who moved to the new camp last summer, Portuguese midfielder Gomes has gone down like a lead balloon unfortunately. Arriving from Valencia for €35 million plus another potential $20 million in add-ons, the 5-time European Cup winners are probably scrambling for the receipt right about now. Gomes was voted the worst signing of the season by Marca readers, but that worked out alright for Luka Modric, didn't it? He's alongside Paulinho. We mentioned him in the intro, and the fee Barca paid Kangju Evergrande gets him into the most expensive Barcelona 11 ever, costing €40 million, having moved to the Chinese Super League 2 years earlier for €14 million. Can anyone get their heads around this deal? The lad wasn't even good enough for an average Tottenham team 4 years ago, and now he's playing for one of the biggest clubs in the world. We're happy to be proved wrong on this one, but considering the Brazilian can't even manage a few kick-ups, we're not holding our breath. Next in midfield it's Marc Overmars. This is where it gets a little bit messy, not Lionel. We're playing a 4-3-3 formation here, so winger Marc Overmars probably isn't going to work in a midfield 3 alongside Paulinho and Gomes. But he did cost €40 million. Arda Turan and Cesc Fabregas both cost €34 million, so if you don't like the thought of Overmars in the middle, then just imagine one of those two are in instead. Anyway, Marc Overmars moved to Barcelona in the year 2000 from Arsenal, having won the Premier League and FA Cup with the Gunners. At the new camp, Overmars would win absolutely nothing, then retire in 2004. So at least Paulinho doesn't have to do much to match the Dutchman. Our front three kicks off with Luis Suarez. The shoulder-nibbling centre-forward is the second most expensive player in Barcelona's history, costing them a whopping €81.7 million, where he linked up with Lionel Messi and Neymar to form one of the best trios ever. Sorry to the current incarnation of Take That, known as MSN, which someone decided to tear apart. While some players in this team haven't justified their fee, Suarez certainly has, scoring goals by the bucket loads in red and blue, much to the envy of Liverpool fans, who will be hoping they don't lose another South American star to the Catalan Giants. Next up it's ZLATAN IBRAHIMOVIC. It cost Barcelona €69.5 million to sign ZLATAN IBRAHIMOVIC from Inter Milan, and in the words of the great man, They signed a Ferrari but used it as a Fiat, with IBRAHIMOVIC critical of Pep Guardiola's use of the giant Swede. He scored 16 times in 29 La Liga appearances, but after just one season he was shipped off to AC Milan, and the Ferrari has roared ever since, still speeding deep into his 30s, metaphorically that is. Zlatan's hardly blessed with pace. And finally we've got Neymar. As good as a swear word now in Barcelona, Neymar is the most expensive player in the world after his €222 million move to PSG shocked football to its core. And the Brazilian also remains Barcelona's most expensive player ever too, costing €86.2 million from Santos back in 2013, despite the initial fee being reported at €57 million. After an investigation into the deal, it was proved that Barcelona actually paid €86.2 million and the club were charged with tax fraud. All of that was forgotten when Neymar started firing alongside Messi and Suarez, but that dream is over now as Neymar downed tools and decided to go solo like Robbie Williams did back in 1995. These Take That references really need to stop. So that's Barcelona's most expensive 11 ever. Let us know what you think in the comments below and don't forget to like, share and subscribe.